Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Keel. I'm the president of the University of Baltimore Faculty Senate this year, and I'd like to thank everybody who's here in the plaza. You can't see them if you're online yet, but you will later, for coming to this event today. I'd like to thank everybody who made it logistically possible, especially Sally Reed, who made sure we were doing it safely at a lot of frantic emails. I'd just like to remind everyone, if you're here physically, please try to stand on the blue X's, which are 6 feet apart, or get further back, so you're definitely 6 feet apart from one another. If you did not register for this online, please go to the event online and register for it so that we know who you are in case there's a need to contact trace people who came to campus today. And so with all those logistics out of the way, I'd just like to introduce Kurt Schmoke, who's going to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. We are gathered here today in a sense of both despair and hope. The despair that we feel is because all of us thought that the incidents that we saw with respect to George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, was something that was a part of America's past, not the present. We recognize how terrible that was, but we also have a sense of hope in looking at what has occurred since then, that people are joining together not only in anger and protest, but also because they want to move forward and make things better throughout the country. Someone asked me recently whether I thought there was any historical parallel to what we've seen today. And my mind went back in particular to Emmett Till. Some of you will remember that from American history. Back in the mid-1950s, a 14-year-old young man, Emmett Till, was horribly brutalized, charged with a fake crime, but grabbed by a mob and beaten. And his mother made an important decision. She decided to show the world exactly the brutality of racism by opening up the coffin and letting the world see what racism did to young Emmett Till. It was such a stark picture. It moved folks emotionally, but it galvanized them to work in the civil rights movement. And progress was made, but as we've seen because of the George Floyd situation, not enough progress has been made. So today, it's our hope that we are experiencing, unfortunately, another Emmett Till moment, but one that will not only spark anger and despair, but will spark action so that we move forward in our words and in our deeds. So let us today pledge to make ours a better society, to move forward, and in the words of a great anthem, let us march on till victory is won.
We have come together to stand in solidarity with the members of the UB community who are struggling with the recent heartbreaking and senseless deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. Events such as these shine a light on the ongoing systematic racism, police brutality, and the persistent inequality faced by Black and other oppressed communities in the United States. As President Schmoke detailed, the UB community is committed to combating racism and injustice in our community. Our university has countless initiatives engaging in important work and a noted commitment to civic and democratic engagement. As a collective, in collaboration with the Division of Student Success and Support Services, we have agreed to further this necessary and just work by coming together today to host an 8-minute and 46-second moment of silence for the UB community, as we share a moment to recognize, reflect, and mourn these and many other senseless deaths. It is our genuine desire in this challenging time to offer solidarity and support to our community. Whether you're called to advocate, reflect, listen, or simply mourn in this moment, we want you to know that we are in this together. In closing, we hear you, we see you, and we stand with you. Though we may be currently separated by COVID-19, together we are strong and committed to progress, support, and driven to end the pandemic of racism at UB, our greater community, and our nation, founded on the principle of liberty and freedom for all. At this time, I ask you all to get ready and to start our 8-minute and 48-second moment of silence. I'm going to raise my hand and signal a peace sign in just a moment, and at that time, our ceremony will begin. That moment is now.
Thank you so much for joining us for that period of silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Mike, Daniel, and I want to thank you all for coming, whether virtually or in person, joining us in this moment of solidarity and silence. I believe wholeheartedly that we are UB strong and that leaders learn here. With this in mind, our final request is simple, yet perhaps the most challenging thing we ask of every UB community member. We implore you not to let this moment be fleeting. We ask that each member of our community take the time to identify their hidden biases, stereotypes, and prejudices, and to do the hard but necessary work of rooting them out and learning about individuals and cultures that are different than your own, but doing so in a way that does not place that burden on others. Connect with local grassroots organizers who for so long have been doing this work. For those not aware, tomorrow is Juneteenth and presents a significant and meaningful starting point to move forward this challenge. Yesterday, Chancellor Perman and President Schmoke provided a head start by providing us a list of resources and time for us to begin that journey. As has so often been stated, it is not just enough to not be racist, but we all must push together to be anti-racist. The three organizers of this event ask you that you hold UB and us accountable to this through shared governance, policy development, course development, and in all avenues where your voice can and should be heard. No longer can individual events, committees, siloed offices, or discussions be enough. We must all push forward and engage in critical review, systemic change, and tangible solutions to address the many inequities faced by so many of our Black and oppressed community members. I ask that you do this not just for yourself, not simply because it's right, not just because Daniel, Mike, or I invited you to do so, not just because it's fundamentally speaking to the mission of our institution and all other institutions of higher education. I ask that you do it for George Floyd Jr., Rhea Milton, Breonna Taylor, Dominique Remy Felds, Ahmaud Arbery, Khalif Browder, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, and Freddie Gray, and the countless others who could be here today if we had been courageous enough to begin this work sooner. These people matter and represent limitless potential taken away far too soon. We can and must be better. In closing, I leave you with the words of James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. Thank you.
Thank you all. Very good.